For 4.4, we're going to start out with writing an equation that describes the story. Then we will answer the question. Virginia's painting service charges $15 per job and 50 cents per square foot. If Virginia earned $50 for painting one job, how many square feet did she paint at the job? So I first have to set up an equation. My equation would be y equals 15 plus 0.50 x. Why did the x go on the 50 cents? Why would that be my equation? I show up to the job, I automatically get how much money? $15. Boom, 15. But then every square foot that I paint, I get an extra 50 cents. That is why I put an X on the 50 cents, because it's the extra money I will make each square foot. From there, I then need to solve. It says that Virginia earned $50. So I'm going to say that Virginia made $50. How would I solve for X? If I know the total was 50, how would I get X by itself? I'd want to subtract the 15. Sorry, it's going to overlap a little bit. That would leave me with $35. How do I get the 50 cents to let go of the X and go over with the 35? I have to undo it. Right now they're close together. That means they're being multiplied. So rather than multiplying, I'm going to undo by dividing. That gives me that X is 70. I'm going to double check. I'm going to use Desmos because most of us use Desmos. Whoops, wrong Desmos. So if I were to check, I would have done 50 minus the 15 is 35. And then I take that 35 and I divide it by the 50 cents, which gives me 70. That means that Virginia painted 70 square feet. So my two answers would be what X equals and my equation that I set up. For question B, renting the ice skating rink for a party costs $300 plus $5 per person. If the final charge for Dane's birthday party was $375, how many people attended his birthday party? I first have to set up an equation. I would have that y equals 300 plus 5. Would the 300 or the 5 have the x on it? The 5 would have the x on it because it's per person. I don't know how many people are coming in. From there, I will try to solve it. Because I know the total was 375, I can minus 300 from both sides. That gives me that $75 was paid per person. If I want to find out how many people that is, I would then divide it by 5. And that would tell me that X is equal to 75 divided by 5 is 15 people. I'm going to check my work. I had 375 people, or $375 total. I minus the 300 for the original price. 75 divided by 5 is 15 people. That's how many people went to the ice skating rink for the party. Questions on setting up equations and solving? All right, next one is true or false. We are going to indicate the following statements are true, false. Explain your thinking. So we have to explain why. The notation 10 is less than X. That's what this means. 10 is less than X means the same thing as X less than 10. That would be false. For those of you who really struggle with the less than, greater than signs, if you wanted to, you could replace X. Proof. Replace X with, what's the number that's bigger than 10? 12? Okay. I'm going to replace X with 12, and I'm just going to see if this makes sense. 10 with a 12, and 12, 10. Which one of these inequalities does not make sense? Remember the alligator eats the bigger number? Which one? The one on the right, the alligator is not eating the bigger number. This is why it is false. D, the inequality 2x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 70 says the same thing as x plus 10 is greater or equal to 35. How would I get this to become this? Yeah. Subtract 10. Oh, you want to solve both of them. Solve both and see if they're true? Let's try it. Minus 10, minus 10. That would give me, let me write off here, x. That'd be a 25. So then solve the left one and see if it's the same. And we'll know if it's true. All right. If I do this one off to the side, that means I would have to distribute. Then I would minus the 20. Bless you.
Teachers, pardon your interruption. We will be doing the final makeup picture day today. All students that have not had their picture taken will need to get it taken today. We will start calling them down by alpha. Right now, we will take letters A through C, and pictures are in the library.
So is this true or false once I've gone through and looked at both of the inequalities?
True.
True, because they match. They're the same. So on your assignment in your little box, you would either need to write what they both equal, just so I know how you proved that it was true. When solving the inequality, negative 5x is greater than 45, the answer is x is greater than negative 9 because I divided both sides of the inequality by negative number. I'm going to check. Do you remember what happened when I divide by a negative number? It became a false statement. On Friday when we did these and tested them, they became false. Because it's a false statement, my inequality sign needs to flip. Whenever I divide or multiply by a negative, I flip the sign. We flip the sign when we multiply or divide by a negative, which means this statement, E, would be identified as false. They did not flip their sign. They need to fix that. Does anybody need me to move the paper so they can see it better to copy any of the notes? All right, let's go on to our set, the new material, solving inequalities. Remember, the only time we flip our inequality sign is when we multiply or divide by negative. For this inequality, I'm going to try and solve it. I have 2x minus 9. My goal is to get the x by itself. To get x alone, I first want to move plus or minus signs. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So I added it to the left side of the inequality and the right side. That would leave me with 2x. Same sign, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then my second step, I'm going to divide by 2. Now I ask myself, when I divide by 2, do I flip the sign? Do not flip the sign. It's not a negative 2. Positive 2 is fine. I'm going to leave my inequality the same direction. This would be x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. That is my solution. On your assignment, you will be asked to graph that solution. You will not be asked to write it as an interval. You just will have to graph it, that's it. So when I graph, I put my dot or my point at 6. Because my inequality is not equal to, that means it will be an open dot, and I will then shade to the left. That's the way my inequality is pointing. On your homework, it draws like an arrow and highlights this section. Question B. My first step, I look, I have x is being multiplied by 4 and a plus 25. So my first step is I'm going to subtract 25. I want to get rid of plus and minus signs. My inequality stays the same. 13 minus 25 is negative 12.
Please send Nicole, Savitra, Carrie, Dakota, Hosea, and Bella to the attendance office for a moment.
Can you read those names one more time?
Nicole Hernandez, Savitra Shrestha, Carrie, Dakota, Thomas, Hosea, not even gonna try the last name, and Bella Wilson.
Okay, I'll send the ones that are here.
Thank you.
That was a lot of names. I think I still missed a few the second time. Did anybody hear their name? I think everybody else's name, they're gone. All right, on the next step, I'm going to divide by this 4. Because it's a positive 4, I don't need to worry about flipping the sign. Negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. This is what I would type in as my solution. Right? I solved for what x would be. X is a number greater than negative 3. So I would place my negative 3 with an open dot. And then I would shade to the right. That's the way it's pointing. Those are the nice ones. Now we're going to get into the beasts. This one will be your most difficult one because there are more steps. Does anybody know what I will do for the first step on C? It's different. Yes. Yes. So I'm going to multiply 8 by x and negative 6. That is called distributing. So 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 6 will be 48 with a minus 1. And then I don't have to distribute anything on this side. Does anybody know what my second step would be?
Are you going to combine like terms?
Yes, I do. Combine like terms. These are the only ones that are like. So I would have 8x minus 49 greater than 4x minus 2. Now I want to move my x over to the left. That means I need to minus 4x. If I move the 4x all the way over to the left, what do I need to do with the 49?
All the way to the right.
Move it to the right. Okay, before I write this in, is everybody okay with the minus 4x? Okay, because I moved the 4x to the left, the 49, I'm going to move it to the right by adding it. Eight minus 4x is 4x. Negative 49 and positive 49 cancel out. Cancels out. 49 minus 2 would be 47. Now I'm going to divide by 4. Do you want to use a fraction or a decimal? I'll let you pick. Your homework won't have fractions like this. Your homework will be nice. Decimal? Okay. So I'm going to check. 47 divided by 4 is 11.75. This would be my solution. I would then graph it. 11.75 would have an open dot because it's not equal to it. And my inequality is pointing to the right. So I will shade to the right. So BJ, will you run down to the attendance office? Did they take a picture? No, never can. Your dad did. Okay. Will you run down to the attendance office? So yours will reduce to a whole number on your assignment. If you do get a fraction or a decimal, this is how you would do it, right? It's not too scary. Turn the page. Do I need to distribute on this one? Do you see any parentheses? Nope. Do you see any like terms that I need to just put together really quick before I start moving pieces? There are no like terms, so I'm going to start by moving the negative 20x to the left side. How do I move the negative 20x over to the left? Opposite of negative 20 is positive 20. Yep, add it. If I move that 20 over, and I want these x's to be alone over here, that means that I need to move this 18 away from it. I don't want 18 to be stuck with these x's. So I'm going to move positive 18 to the right side. To move a positive 18, I need to do the opposite and subtract it. That would give me 20, 19, 18, 17 x's. 18 and 18, positive and negative would go away. My inequality I copied. Negative 5 and negative 18. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It's negative 23. Negative 20 and positive 20 go away. I now divide by 17. And this is going to be a decimal again. Let's see what it is. Negative 23 divided by 17. Negative 1.35. I'm going to round it. So I would place my point at negative 1.35 as a, what type of dot is this one? It's different.
Solid.
Yay, we finally got a solid dot. Solid dot. And I shade to the right. On E, where is the X? It's in the middle with a 2 and a -4. I will first add 4. Now this one is very different because how many pieces are there? There's 1, 2, 3. I have to do the same thing to all 3 pieces. So if I add 4, I have to add 4 and add 4. I have to do it to every piece. So they're all treated equally. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. That'd be -8. That 4 would go away and leave 2x. 20 plus 4 is 24. Then I will divide by 2. I have to do it to every piece. That becomes a -4. That's just an x. And that would become a 12. When I graph it, I would have a point at -4 that is open. And I would have a point at 12 that is open. And I would shade where? Where? I heard somebody say it. Where? Between, yes. Between. In the middle. Any questions on solving and graphing inequalities? Our last section is review, function notation, and substitution. For our first one, it says find f of -5. I want you to notice that it is in the parentheses. When it is parentheses, I plug it in for x. I just plug it in. plug in. So I would take 3x plus 2 and I would replace it. Whoops. I replace the x with the number in the parentheses. When I replace it, that makes a negative 15. Negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. That would be my solution. Now the tricky part is when they don't give it to you in the parentheses. This one, it says it's equal to 9. When it says it's equal to a value, we do not plug in. It's not in parentheses. I'm not plugging it in. What I do is I take the equation and set it equal to 9. Three x plus 2 is equal to the 9. How would I then solve for the x? I want x alone.
-2.
Minus 2. 987. Divide by 3. And I'm going to be lazy and just leave it as a fraction. If you type it as a decimal, it'll still mark it correct. You can pick. Question B, with the negative 2, it's in the parentheses. In the parentheses is the nice one. I just take my 2x minus 3 and I replace the x with the number. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus 3. 4, 5, 6, 7 is negative 7. This one says that it wants me to find when it's equal to 5. I would say 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. Add the 3. That gives you 8. Divide by 2. And x is a 4. As I look to C, are any of these on C an equal to where we'll have to solve? None of them say equal. What do you notice about all of these numbers? All of them are in parentheses. That means we will plug these in. Plug in. That means I take the equation and I replace it with the number it's asking for. I don't have to show my work. This is just what I would type in. So I'm going to type that in. 530, parenthesis, 0.8, close to the power of negative 10. 4,936.009. This 9 would round that 0 to a 1. Now I delete that negative 10, and what do I replace it with? A negative 5. When I round before 3, I look at that last number, it's a 1 behind it. 1 will not round the 3 up. I will leave it as 0.43. Now it wants me to evaluate what happens when the power is 0. So I delete and put a 0 in. It says that it's 530. Delete. What do I plug in now? 5. Plug the 5 in. 6, 7. There's a 0 behind the 6, 7, which means 6, 7 will not be rounded up. It'll just stay how it is. I'm going to delete and plug a 10 in, which gives me 56 point. What would 90 change to if there's an 8 after it?
9-1.
9-1. Does anybody want me to write off to the side how I did with this first one? What it would look like typed on the calculator? I will just in case. So the blue one, I plugged in a negative 5. Green one, I plugged in a 0. Orange, I plugged in a 5. And the red, I plugged in a 10.